Good morning, everybody. Luke back again, bringing you another informative video. I guess it's going to be a little boring, but that you got to do the boring things to get where you want to go. So let's have some fun as much as we can. you know what I mean. Right. Anyway, let's get started. So what we're going to talk about today is there's been that new enforced. I did post it on my Facebook group. It was basically there's an enforced now way to do shipments. Basically, you've got to pay a fee unless you disclose every single contents of your shipments, each box and every box, down to the quantities, the expiry dates, all that sort of thing. But before, you can click a button and you just typed in like 10 boxes and you typed in the weights of the boxes, and then Amazon would just take it in. And they know, say you got 100 items in those 10 boxes, it knows it's expecting those items because you obviously had to add it to your catalogue from here. Obviously, you're going to add a shipment like you would normally, but it wouldn't know what box is going to contain what, so it would just guess. I guess is the best way to do it. It would just, as it not guess, but as it came in, it would just sort of mark off against that whole shipment of 100. But what I actually found is that yes, this is going to be really long and annoying, but it will clean up a couple of issues I've discovered. So these issues are that where you used to select multiple boxes, once you select multiple boxes, it wouldn't let you choose, and you basically didn't want to disclose it. You could always disclose this information, but it's just more time consuming. So most people would just click the skip section or whatever it was and just type in the weight of the boxes. But it never gave you an option for typing expiry dates for groceries. I've just gone through an example and I've typed in Walker's crisps just for because it's just so well known. Everyone knows what they are. But at least got expiry dates, all these products, all grocery items pretty much. But you would never know, well, you wouldn't be able to enter it. And what I found is that I was getting, let's see if we can find it. Down here, you can see unfulfillable inventory. And basically what was happening is that the item was getting booked in and going straight to unfulfillable inventory, meaning something's wrong. And when you go onto it, it used to say expired. So I had some Walker's crisps, and I had some Jaffa cakes, and they're now all both stuck in Amazon. I've literally requested a removal order on both of them. Like the crisps were like 2 months ago, and the Jaffa cakes were like a month ago, and they still haven't removed my items. And I even sent a thing to them to say, like a help, saying it's not actually forcing it through to get removed for some reason, and they're still there. Like they're still within this, so I wanted to just get the Walker's crisps back, and if they're expired, just eat them or something, and send back the min if I'm that worried. But they're just still stuck, and it used to be just so random. Like there'd be no reason to say they're expired because one, they're in poly bags usually. The crisps wouldn't be, but the Jaffa cakes were in poly bags. Because normally, for example, like these things could be bundles. A lot of them are bundles. Like here, it might be that someone's bagged up the equivalent of this. You see, so a lot of them are bundles with the Jaffa cakes and stuff. So you can't really even see the expiry dates. So I don't even really know how they figured out what was expired. But it used to be the whole batch. It wasn't just one unit. It was the whole quantity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you now the new process. And why it's better. And another thing that's going to be better for it is that I always used to find that basically you should always go into infantry up here and go into your manage FBA shipment and check each shipment over to historically to make sure everything was booked in properly. Because if it isn't, you can see it will say booked. It will say shipped 110, received 99, and it will say closed, or it will say still processing. So processing means if you sent in 10 boxes, it may only open up 9, and there's one box that's somewhere, and it's waiting. And after a certain amount of time, it will get shifted to close. And when it's closed, just see if they match up. If it doesn't, you can click into the shipment just like you would like any of these links. It will be like highlighted like that on the shipment. You just click it, and you'll be able to go to like a tab along the top, which is reconcile, I think. And then you can see if you can get some money back for the items. Sometimes they say no. They say that a new thing, they automatically reconciled it for you and it wasn't in. And I'm like, well, clearly I didn't just decide to chuck them in the bin or something. I clearly sent it in if it went in. And fair enough if it's the odd one item. I think, well, maybe I misput in one item. or maybe I added too many to the shipment, or maybe, you know. But when it's like 2 of that, 1 of that, 3 of that, like, you know, it's like 10 units, you're thinking, well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been 10 units, you know, the odd 1 unit here and there, fair enough, but, you know. But this way, this whole new process where you're adding in each shipment consumed, which I'm going to go through now, you should be able to, it should be clearer when they receive each shipment box, because they will actually know what they're waiting to receive. And so it won't be like, for example, if they've received 9 boxes, but there's still 1 box they haven't received, they don't know what that 1 box contains. You see? So when they're booking in, they might think, well, you know, the system or the people might think, okay, that's weird. Why is there one item missing of that particular item? Why isn't it with this? Because there's space, or it's tiny, so why isn't it with it? But the system, or they might think, maybe they put it in the other box, because they don't know what box is containing what. So it should improve your managed shipments and getting the exact numbers booked in, not like the odd differences. Because in theory, it should say, if they're scanning it in, it should then come up saying maybe this item hasn't been scanned, because the system knows what's to be scanned. It's expecting 20 to be scanned. The sort of handler might scan in 19, and the device could tell them there's 1 item missing, or there's 1 item not included, and they may find that item because they're aware of it at that point, of interaction, or whatever the hell you want to call it, rather than the system thinking, okay, there's 19, the other box must have the rest. It doesn't know. So I'm going to go over it, and I'm going to explain a bit about how to do it, because it's a little bit confusing once you start doing it, and I'm going to show you why you want to do it and not do what you were doing before, because you might just sort of not even look, just like automatically just start doing it, and before you know it, you incurred loads of extra fees which you don't want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick grocery items. Yeah, so we're going to go in. I'll delete the shipment after. I probably will go and delete the products, because you don't want to start selling products that you're not allowed, even though it's Walkers. That's why I picked it. But I didn't want to like accidentally add a private label jam or something that someone's made, or like, you know, by chance. Just, you know, it's irrelevant what I'm putting in here. I'm just going to add like a handful of items, to be fair. Doesn't really matter. Oh God, Luke, what are you doing? Come on. Better than that. Alright, hang on. We're getting back here. I'll just add these on the top. I'm not going to worry about I'm not going to add too many. I'm just going to add about 3 variations, just so that you can sort of see as I do it. I'm sure a lot of people have already done this and they've gone over it, or some people I've actually seen some people I've noticed in the group who are saying that they've already or say they always did enter each shipment or each box. And that's fine. Well, it's fine when you're doing 1 box, because you have to. Okay, and you used to be able to enter the expiry date. Or sorry, you used to have to enter the expiry date. If you ever did any more, it used to just almost get rid of a lot of the data that you needed to enter, and just give you, and just say enter the box weight. That's it. Nothing else. Like and a lot of people used to do it. So if you're doing the odd 1 or 2 boxes, sometimes I even do my boxes separately. If I go, I've got 2 boxes, I might just do them separately, because I look to like ring up UPS as early as I can to get it booked in. So I'll just do the first one, get the reference number, and that way I can like, you know, definitely book it in. And just so you know, on this barcode type here, sometimes you'll see manufacturer only. It's a new option. So manufacturer's barcode, and you don't. Well, you can. Which I think just means that you just send in the item. Now, you can do that if you really want, and obviously it will save you like a label. But the problem is say that they book in that item with the other item, so it's like a pack of cornflakes. How many more pack of cornflakes are there? Oh, that's a silly amount, probably. And now that item is unrecognisable to your account, because it is just, it's like looking at the back of anything. If you go to the shop and buy 2 ketchups, so you go and get Heinz ketchups, I think. I mean, this is just a guess. The barcode should be the same in Tesco's as it is in Sainsbury's. That might be a complete lie. I have no idea, to be quite honest. Okay, that was just a guess. But you get what I'm trying to say. The items should be the same. So when the manufacturer should put, they must manufacture the same barcode on every item to designate that particular item in the product range or whatever. But when you've got your old barcode on it, that merchant SKU, I guess is it? Yes, it's a SKU, or it's the. I get confused now. Actually, it must be the FNSKU. Yeah, that will be your link to your account. So, say for example, someone says, "Oh, excuse, returns an item and says this is wrong. It's not the item it's not the product." So one of the most common sort of returns, apart from the obvious like don't want the product, is product not as described. Now, if you're getting that item returned, in theory it might not be your item. And actually, that then leads to, is it commingled infantry? Is that right? Commingled, or whatever it is. So because it's all under the same manufacturer's barcode, it's probably going to be commingled inventory. Is that even right? Commingled inventory, meaning everyone that just shares the items, because there's nowhere to designate it's yours. Unless they put it into a specific place designated for your seller account, and that sounds quite faffy. It just sounds too labor intensive to designate every seller as their own area, because how do you know what they're sending in and stuff like that? So you kind of get what I'm trying to say at that point. So a lot of people have said, why not? And it saves time, but you know, you want to be, yeah, it does save time, it does save money potentially, but it's like, at what point do you like remove too much control from your account that you're opening yourself up for issues and problems down the line? So we're just going to go ahead and add these up, this item. And like, for example, at least when you get something back, you can see if it's your. I had an item with like a random item appear in my shipment, and I had the item in there, but it appeared as a different item. So like, obviously my FNSKU number that it is meant to be, it wasn't that number, it was a different number, but still the same booked in product. And it came up as like under a weird listing for some reason, even though it was the same item. I then removed it and I've looked at the labels on the back and they're not even mine. So like, but you know, like things happen like all the time, and it's just, you know, you want to try to keep as much control as you can, because you know what happens with Amazon. Like things just go funny all the time, you know. So we're going to go ahead and just enter. I'm only going to add a handful of products, because otherwise this video will just go on for ages, me adding products. And you might get some other products, like some sort of, any grocery items usually have an expiry date. Most of them just say that anyway, but you will see that at times it give you an option. It will give you a drop down. And also with this required goods dangerous thing, most of the time it's just no. And if it is batteries, so if there are batteries, just in case, because I've seen people say, oh, I don't sell anything with batteries in. I sell products with batteries all the time. Usually, if it is basically just sold with batteries, but it's not got batteries, it doesn't even ask you for the information. That's done. Like, that's as much information as it needs. Otherwise, it might be 2 AAs, and like that's so simple. Like require. Let's just say it's got 2 AAs. You know, like alkaline. Okay, here we go. AA. Number of batteries, well, 2. I mean, that's it. Yeah. Like most products will have batteries, which will be like standard batteries, and the current. Now and then you'll get lithium ion, and I know there's loads of variations here. And I was at the time like, what? Most lithium ion, like for built-in chargers, and yes, you might have to go and spend half an hour on your first attempt. So I usually just do that. LR44s, in case you don't know, are the little watch battery ones. So obviously, if it's not an AA or it's an LR44, and it will always say on the bottom of the pack. So you just get the box. If you know it's got batteries in, it will say somewhere on one of the sides. Look through all the information, you'll see, because it has to legally say it contains batteries, because obviously batteries are like a dangerous or hazardous product potentially, so it needs to disclose it legally, just like it needs trademark signs like CE or whatever that thing means, certified something. And then lithium ion, I just normally do that, and obviously one battery, and this is where it obviously gets a little bit more faffy, but you can roughly figure out. It doesn't have to. So okay, it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, yes, it probably does, but like a lot when it goes down, when it's down that's obviously the actual battery itself isn't heavy. Like most things, the product itself usually won't be heavy anyway because you can hold it in your hand, it'll be light, so the actual battery inside won't be that bad. And just do a little bit, just get a little understanding of like normal size in grams, cells, just literally just have a quick look at cells and watts. And then pretty much once you've done like a couple, most of them will be the same. Like most products will have pretty much the same sort of batteries. You know, it literally just be a charger. Like a batteries, or it would be chargers. And if you're that worried, just do items that have batteries. So you can still sell a lot of toys that have batteries in, because most of them have just the AAs or the LR44s. Right, we aren't going to worry too much more. I'm going to just do this. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this shipment afterwards anyway, so that's fine. Go ahead and approve. Okay, so this, I'm going to show you the difference. So I'm going to show you what it used to be that you could do. Now, imagine this is a much bigger shipment. I'm not going to go into it. It's not going to keep going and going and going on this. Imagine this is a bigger shipment. Now, this is the options you got. Everything in one box. I'll show you. Is this expiry dates? And the reason it doesn't, well, you can press enter. Okay. Now it's late. That's the lazy man's way. That's basically, for some reason, people have been having issues with this popping up as a. I've tried like all the buttons, like hold down Shift to get it pop up. I've hold down Command, doesn't do anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm still trying now. Alt, Control, no. Emoji, no, no, thank you. You don't have to enter box dimensions. I've never ever entered that. Weight, obviously, you don't do more than 15, otherwise it charges you double. That's really obvious. And you can have expiry. So if you, for me, being a little bit lazy sometimes, or not lazy, but just wanting to speed everything up and not waste my time, if I know a product is fast selling and I have this problem, you can go into Safari, open up the exact same thing, enter your dates, then go back onto your Chrome, refresh the page and carry on. I just find Chrome easier because I'm used to it. But you can go onto Safari for that, it's a little bit faffy. Or you can refresh. Normally you can go up to your settings. Where's my settings? In here, let's just do it for shits and giggles. I hope it doesn't delete everything. And normally it's cookies. So you can go down here, it's usually under, yeah, manage search engines, is that right? No. Advanced, isn't it? Advanced, yeah. So at the very bottom it says advanced. I know you couldn't see it because my screen's a bit not full size, but and then you go down to the bottom. It says clear browser, browsing, whatever. I just do basic. If it's that bad, you can do advanced. It just gets rid of all your history and cookies. That's the problem. It signs you out everything. So if you've got automatic sign-ins and you don't know your passwords, don't do this until you know your passwords. But that's all of these. If you've got really an issue, basically just do that without that. And if it's really bad, do that. And then if it's really bad, just do all this. I mean, I've got 37 passwords. Clear it, refresh everything, go into this again, and it should actually work. And I've just not bothered. It's really, and if I know the products, I've only got like 10 of an item, and it's like ranked 1,000 in groceries, I'm literally just pressing the enter button. That's 3 months. That's more than 3 months, isn't it? November, December, January. Yeah, 3 months and 2 weeks. I mean, that's fine. Like, I'm happy. So I'm just doing it like that. If it's a lot of items, like it's 10, 20 items, I'll take the time to go to Safari and enter these. But you can't actually do anything else apart from press the enter. Well, I can. You might not be able to. But you can see here, you can do expiry date, you can do this, that, and the other. Now, you used to be able to do, well, this is what you would do if you're sending more than one box in. More than one box, whatever that says. Press this button. So that's what you used to do if you were sending more than one box. And so a lot of time people were sending 5, 10, 20, I guess, if you're a bit more of a larger seller. But many boxes at a time, every day. So you would rarely put one box at a time. Yes, if you're new, you would. I do really need to look at this upload file thing. I had a look a while ago and it seemed, well, yeah, I do need to look at it, to be quite honest. But I think, you know, when you're comfortable with something, it takes you a little bit more time to actually be proactive in the new way. But that's fine. So you can. This is what you need to now use. Use web form. But you used to click the skip box information and pay random processing fee. Well, it didn't actually apply. That didn't apply. But this was what popped up. Now, this has always popped up for the last like 3 months to tell you after the 9th of October, and it is the 10th, that you will be charged a manual fee. So just as I was saying, the system does not know what you're booking in, and so there's almost more effort for, I guess, the person booking in to make sure that they book everything in that's in that box. Because obviously you got normally like bubble wrap in there, you've got like the filler, they've got the pillow thingies. Yeah, I don't know. You could have anything in there, and sometimes things are really tiny, like beauty items. Some of them are so small, and it's difficult to sometimes see them. Like literally, just like your thumb, like literally just like the thumb, the tip of the thumb, like for a tiny little like palette thing. I don't know, and it's so difficult to see it with all the bubble wrap in there as well. So it's easy to miss. But if they're scanning in and they know there's 20 items and they've done all 20, they don't have to look through the rest of the box to check. Do you see? And I guess that's where it's sort of come in. Like the checking time is longer when they don't know what's going to be in the box. So they are charging for time, I guess. They're charging more for time. So now this will actually be charged to you for your items. Now, it doesn't look like a lot of money, 20 items, but most of the time you'll be doing, you know, definitely if you're largest, well, that's £1.20 per box. So if you're doing 30 boxes a month, I say you're just doing one a day. That's still, it's a good old calculator. I know it's not particularly needed. £36. Well, okay, now it's an extra £36 on top of the already increased euro fees, and then the already increased this fees, and you know, before you know it, you're going to be making no money. And it's already expensive anyway, as it is. You know, and if you were sending in 200 items, which is quite easily possible that on a good, you know, on a busy day, a good day, whatever you want to call it, you get a lot of stock in, you want to get 10 boxes off, that's going to be like 12 quid for 200 items. And now you're starting to think, Jesus, 12 quid? Well, what about next week? And then you've got that's starting to go up into like the £60. And you know, you're looking at £60, you think, you know, you could get like BuyBot Pro or FBA multi-tool or like all these softwares for just for a little bit more effort, almost for free. And you need to be aware, like this has been there for a while, so people might think, might just forget, not really even look at this date, and then because it still looks the same. There's no like update. There's a little update on the main screen of Amazon. It says it's now into effect, and you would literally type in your boxes. Let's say you have 2 boxes, so I'm setting the number of boxes. Now this is the data that you'd include. Box weight. Well, if I put 15 there, let's just say it's 15. That's all it says, and then you would go down, calculate the price, like so. It would give you a combined price. You click that, print the labels, and that's it. Now, there's no expiry dates here. There's no what's in what box. It's literally just the box weights. They have no idea. There could be no items in that box and everything in that box, you know. But now you have to do the web form, unless you want to pay the fee. Now, I would say it's ridiculous if you want to pay the fee, and I'd say it's a bit lazy if you want to pay the fee. Not because it's just lazy, because you've got to enter more details, but it's lazy because you're actually spending money. So you're being lazy by chucking money at it because you don't want to do it. And if you've got a VA to get them to do it, like you'd probably actually be cheaper to get a VA to do this, and it'll cost you half the price. So you're not doing it anyway, but you're saving yourself money. You get, yeah. And here, for example, how many boxes? 2. Now this is where you can see there's a lot more information you have to provide. You've still got the same 2 items, and it has expiry date. Now, obviously, I can't. Well, you can split it, which is interesting on this. But usually, I just can Usually if I get it from the same place, I'll use the same expiry date. Now, of course, I can press the enter button, but you get what I'm trying to say. Now, you couldn't enter any, okay, it's not even letting me delete it, that's cool. Doesn't really matter. Let's just say you put in whatever date you want to put in. Now, this is where you've got to be careful, because you basically don't already box up your boxes. Now, I was testing this the other day, and obviously I put in up to 15 kilograms. It was quite heavy stuff, so I had these little like medium boxes, I guess. Put all the stuff in, and it was bubble wrap stuff as well, so you can barely tell what's even in the bubble wrap. So I put all the stuff in the boxes as they sort of fit, like weight-wise, as they worked out. And then I got to this, and I was like, oh no, like I've split some items up. So like I had 10 of one, but I put 5 in into one box, 2 in the other, and 3 in the other box. And now, which one is box 1, and which one's box 2? Because you have to remember which label you're putting on the boxes as well. So it's not just the quantities that you're putting in here; it's also the box number. So box 1 in the system will correlate to just 8. So you would have, let's say there's 8, because I haven't got any boxes, and there's 2 in here, and then there's 10. You see what I'm trying to say? So I put 0. And I put the box weight as, let's say that was 6 and that was 8. So these are different. Yeah. Now actually, I've been playing around with this. If you keep that below 15, your 2 boxes should come out as 1 box payment. Let's have a look. Nope. Okay, so if you're doing below 30 kg, if you're doing 4 boxes, but it's below 30 kilograms in total, which is the equivalent of 4 boxes at 50. Hang on, that's completely wrong. Basically, you can get away with 4 boxes to send for the price of 3 boxes if the total combined weight is less than 30 kilograms. But there are other ways you can do it. So that's, anyway, we're just going to carry on. So you can now see, for example, I put 8. So you have to make sure you actually remember what you put in, because I usually used to label everything up, go to the screen, then see what I could fit into the boxes, and I would just do it as I went. So I wouldn't necessarily worry what I put into what box, or maybe I didn't want to keep everything in the same place. So, for example, if I had 10 of an item, I wouldn't care about splitting them up, because it's about trying to get the best fit for weight ratio. So you might put 3 of that light one in. You might have 10 really light things. You put 3 of that into one box, 3 of that into another box, so that you balance the box, so you get, But on this, you've got to be careful, because you can box everything up and be like, okay, so what's in box 1? Well, what one is box 1? So maybe you want to go ahead and get a marker and label up your boxes straight before you've even put anything in. And then as you're putting things in, you are inputting this. Now, if you've got a prep center and stuff, it is obviously different. I would suggest basically labeling boxes up. Say you've got 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then sort of dummy run what you're going to put into those boxes, because you sort of, after a while of prepping for yourself and knowing what's what, you get a gist of the weights of things. Obviously, you've got to handle the products when you're labeling them and stuff, so you've got an idea. I'd say then mock up what you're going to do. Input this data as you go. They don't box up first, because I did that, then spent a while figuring out. So I was like, okay, where's 8 of them? Looking around. Then, because there was more than one box, I came back to here and I was entering more, and I thought, hang on, what box is box 1 again? Like, I've just put, but then I had to look, which one was I looking at before? And it gets like, because you're not used to it, it gets a bit faffy. But you have to then be careful that when you print all these, you remember which one you designate as box 1 and box 2, because if you put box 1's labels and box 2, well, then when you book in, they're expecting all the items in box 1 to be that, and actually you put the wrong label on them, and it's actually on box 2, and they actually receive this. It's just going to be a mess, is all I'm going to say. And this is obviously only on a couple of items. If you've got a lot of boxes, it could be a disaster. And yes, I know that you might make mistakes at the beginning, just where you're sort of like getting used to it. First couple of boxes might be wrong, or I don't know. You might have put 9 instead of 8 because you weren't, But you got to sort of come up with a rough what's the word, like a plan of action, I guess, in advance. Now I'd still not enter this, to be fair. And then yeah, so you would just do that, obviously expiry and print your labels and make sure you have got some sort of like rhythm to it. So don't just like, I used to basically just almost seal up all my boxes, then go to this screen, not this screen, but the other screen, this one, which I found to be like, well, you almost having to do a lot, like really stop earlier, stop away earlier, even before you even boxed it, to make sure that you're aware. And if you've labelled the boxes, you don't already 1, 2, 3, just with a marker on the side of the box or something, or into the corner, and you've got everything roughly prepared. All you got to do is go, right, okay, I know what box 1 is. You just glance it in whatever you are, the warehouse, you know, your bedroom, you know, the kitchen, the lounge, whatever you're doing, and then that would be so easy just to like reel off, okay, so what's that item there? Like you literally line up all your products that are going into that box. 2, 4, 8, next one, and then when you print it off, it will say box 1 of 4, box 1 of 10, and you know, well, box 1 is box 1 because I put 1 on the box, so you know which labels go on what box as well. You know, obviously it's still going to be a work in progress, and I could come up with a better and easier solution as time goes on, as you may all, but because obviously this is maybe going to confuse a lot of people, and also don't carry on using this in case you've not realised, you'd obviously go confirm. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. But yeah, like just make sure that you're careful, because before you know it, you could get out of hand there, and it could just be a mess when they receive the shipment in. Yes, it would all work out fine in the end. You would get like an issue with the product, the shipment, and it would say, we have identified these issues, and that happens anyway without even causing issues. So they'll like, I bubble wrap stuff, and they say I still haven't bubble wrapped it. Now I've tried to figure out why sometimes that's happened, and recently it's been fine. But sometimes I haven't designated if it's a glass product on the shipment, but I've still polybagged it. Sorry, I've still bubble wrapped it, obviously. But I don't know if, because you've not designated it as being glass in the system, it then, as you know, it makes massive mistakes anyway, and you just want to be very careful of what you're doing. And going forward, yeah, hopefully, anyway, yeah, that's going to be me. 30-minute video, not too bad. And actually, there's probably more value in that than I thought it was going to be. Just with a couple of little extras that I thought I'd throw in. So if you haven't seen this already, obviously you're watching it now, so awesome. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. There's also awesome videos that I just bring out. Sometimes they're fun, sometimes they're not. And even if they're not, they're informative. So yeah, smash the thumbs up. Do your usual stuff, subscribe or whatever else that YouTube wants you to do, and hopefully you got some information and learn a little bit for 30 minutes. So yeah, enjoy your day. Ciao.